I thought I'd do something a little different for a change. This is a Fountain CSX-1000 integrated music centre, built here in New Zealand, designed, manufactured, using locally made parts and obviously imported components as well, getting from overseas. We had huge import restrictions back here in the 70s and 80s, so you know a lot of local manufacture took place. This would be one of the more cheaper ones, sort of probably not coming sort of towards the end of the Fountain brand. I'm guessing this would be probably early 80s, I'd say, because this one actually has FM on it. But I just sort of do a bit of a review on it and just sort of my thoughts and feelings on this. Okay, where do we start? Well, the first thing is what I noticed is when I tried to get it apart, I couldn't get it apart because they'd actually glued the front to the actual top cover. So all I've done is I've just used like wood glue. I'll see if I can get it up with one hand. But yeah, that's. I mean, it's not the greatest, really, is it? It's pretty flimsy. I mean, you know, it's sort of. So yeah, it uses a BSR turntable, 2-speed, 33 and 45. Just typical budget entry-level turntable with one of those ceramic cartridges. Oh, come on, camera. Is it running a yeah, those SC12 one of those ceramic cartridges. So yeah, it's the tape deck doesn't even open. That's about right for one of these. Most of the cassette decks in these I had it by now. I think all the belts on this one are gone. But I can probably just able to get it up and just move my light and get it up and have a look inside. Oops, just knocked the lid into everything. I'll just shut that down and we can have a look on the inside. So here is a look on the inside. She uses, looks like it uses Alps pots for the bass treble volume and balance. Fairly basic on the inside here. And the whole chassis is just constructed with sheet metal. As you can see, there's a lot of air inside this thing. There's the cassette deck, and the belts all perished as well. That's the record playback. Electronics for the cassette deck. Uses RCA output transistors. I can't quite read the numbers on those. Looks like 2N6. Looks like 2N6109 and 2N6109 and 2N50 something or other. Can't actually quite see that actually. Can't actually quite see what they are. Okay, so we've got 2N6109 and 2N6290. So one will be in NPN and PNP, probably 10-15 watts a channel at the most. Uses Philips BC 327-7s, basically a combination of Japanese and Philips sort of branded parts in these things. Tuning capacitor there. It's got some showy capacitors in there. I think there's some Matsushita ones as well. Some of those blue Matsushita capacitors you see in Panasonic and Technics equipment. I've actually been finding too that, especially in some of the Technics gear, that these caps are actually starting to leak. You can see all the got green corrosion on their legs as all the electrolyte leaks out. I've been coming across that in a few Technics amplifiers and tape decks and other things from the 70s and 80s. And it's got those horrible, never like these horrible sort of Philips European speaker sockets and plugs at the back. Yeah, so like I said, a fairly basic level entry model, sort of no frills. I mean, it does actually look quite. I mean, it sort of looks the part. It looks the part. Doesn't look, I've seen certainly a lot more cheesier things, but this is sort of it was okay for the time, I guess. Right, so I will demonstrate it going. You just close the lid then on it. I'm going to have to glue that back up, otherwise it'll flop around. Just hang on 1 second. I'll just slide it back up again like that. Right, you still there? Okay. And right, so we turn it on.
Is it just me, or is it getting?
There are many people who have lived lives where they felt called and motivated. There is a deep feeling that they are put on earth for one particular course of action. Like the greats of Mother Teresa, Martin Luther King and Nelson Mandela, singer Delta Goodrem released a song...
The midfield, a break of 3 lengths.
My camera is having a lot of problems focusing here, sorry about this. Oh, come on. That's better. Okay, sorry about that.
Anyway, the leaf smokers and
so the actual AM tuner works quite well. Picks up all the stations, it's fairly sensitive.
Polish Trainman Rattler partners.
just in the film.
It's hard to navigate.
But the FM, I'm afraid, is a little bit. Yeah, the FM. It does not have a signal strength meter or an FM stereo pilot light, so you actually don't know where you are pretty much, and it only seems to work on mono. Don't really want to get flagged, but you have to get a really, really strong station before it will. So that's meant to be stereo, and of course it mutes, but there's no way, there's no muting, threshold adjustment, there's nothing, there's no signal, there's no meters to even indicate, there's not even an FM stereo light. So you've sort of just got to go through. There we go, there, that's probably stereo there, I'd say, when it finally unmutes and breaks through. Yeah, to be honest, that's actually pretty disappointing. You know, I would have expected I would have had at least an FM stereo light or some indication to say, you're off tune or on tune when it comes to stereo playback. Yeah, so that's the only thing that kind of really lets it down in regards to the tuner side of it. Tape is pretty much tape. And the turntable, well, the turntable does work. It's fairly, it's fairly basic for what you'd expect. 33 and 45 on there. Just probably no real point in putting the record on because I might get flagged, but Yeah, the output from that cartridge is fairly average. It's not what I'd call great, but I mean, yeah. Put it this way, I've certainly heard far worse. Yeah. So might as well just swing it around and show you the back of it if I can. Not really much to see on the back. Just your power cord, your speaker terminals, and everything. Yeah, manufactured and distributed by Fountain Corporation, Auckland, New Zealand. And just your speakers A and B on the back there. So yeah, there was a lot of, so basically a lot of our 3-in-1s were all made here in New Zealand. There were Pies, Bells, Isotronics, Majestics, Nationals. There was Sonophone as well, and there were Thorn. There were quite a few manufactured here. Fountain did also make a range of valve amplifiers back in the 60s, and they some of those actually weren't too bad, and they've sort of become quite collectible, but I'm not too sure about these. There was another version of this which didn't have the tape deck on it from memory, which was about the same. They did make a handful of integrated amplifiers as well. The AF2550, that actually wasn't a bad amplifier. But what's interesting with the Fountain amplifier, the integrated one, that was probably mid-70s, the knobs are identical to the Sansui 2000, 5000 range. If you look at the knobs on the early Fountains and look at the Sansui knobs, they're almost a direct copy. So maybe I'll have to dig out my Fountain amplifier and do a review on that. Could be something interesting. Yeah, this is just, I'm sorry, this is quite poor. Just poor manufacture, and it's all sheet metal and yeah, but hey, at the time this is what was available, and if you're on a limited budget and you wanted something that played tapes and records and yeah, able to listen to your local favorite radio station, well, yeah, would have been ideal. Didn't come with the speakers. I don't know what kind of speakers it had. Probably some fairly probably get some 2-way or 3-way basic speakers that would have come with us. Yes, I hope you enjoyed the review on the Fountain CSX-1000, and yeah, a bit of local New Zealand manufacturing. Not to saying they're all like this. I mean, some really good audio equipment did come out of New Zealand, like Plinius and Perot and McLaren. We did make some good stuff. And some of the early New Zealand stuff was actually, again, New Zealand hi-fi now is becoming some of the older higher end stuff. There's still a cult following for that, and yeah, it's becoming quite collectible as well. So yes, I hope you enjoyed this video, and stay tuned for more or less. Bye for now.